It's good to see you. Firstly, you were in Monaco last night for Spurs.
Yeah, cool. You know me, Bridgie, massive Spurs fan. It's actually Sportel this week in Monaco, which is like the whole of the sports industry gather here, and Tottenham were playing Monaco. It was a very unique experience, let's say. Um, Strange atmosphere. I think it's only a 900 allocation for Spurs fans. Not the greatest game, if I'm honest. I mean, you know me, I'm a casual football fan. If I've got a team, it's Spurs, but I can't tell you that I'm a hardcore follower. But yeah, it was a little bit flat, if I'm honest, given it being a Champions League game. And I think a lot of Spurs fans kind of left a little bit meh.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Let's just get straight into it. Um, is it? Am I right in saying that AJ's agreed to fight a deal in Ghana?
No, definitely not. There's all kinds of rumours, swirling around about Anthony Joshua at the moment. As always in the boxing world, maybe 5% are right and 95% are wrong. So, the situation is he's in camp. He's started his training camp now. We had talked about the possibility of some kind of run out fight this year. I think as that as the days pass, that becomes less likely. February is the solid date for an AJ fight. Now, whether that's a second fight or whether that's his first fight back, we'll see. As I said, at this stage, it feels like February will be his next fight. But we talked before about kind of like it's difficult for AJ because you come back of what will be a year and a half out of the ring at that point, and you're thrusted back into a massive arena or stadium, back in a high profile fight, back in a tough fight. And we just talked about the kind of blessing that would be a run out fight without those kind of pressures and just a chance for him to wrap his hands, get back in the feed of things. But he's never really had the opportunity to do that. So unfortunately, that comes with the territory of being Anthony Joshua. So right now he's in training camp and he's very focused for his return. So we have had offers to stage an AJ fight in Ghana, also approaches to stage an AJ fight in Nigeria. Also, obviously, we're in deep conversations with Turki Al-Sheikh about a multi-fight deal that could include Tyson Fury, which would be the greatest scenario. So there are a lot of options, but I can tell you now the main thing is that he's back in full training camp and his mind is fully focused on a return to the ring.
That's great news. Do you have a short list of opponents?
No, I think that the key is to get him in the best physical condition and frame of mind and momentum to fight Tyson Fury. Now, we can't control what Tyson Fury does. What we know is his excellency wants to make that fight. And he's got a very good track record of making fights when he wants to make them. Um, from our side, we are in negotiations for our side of a deal to fight Tyson Fury, but more importantly, of a plan moving forward over the next 12 months. That deal is irrelevant until Tyson Fury also does his deal with Turki Al-Sheikh to fight Anthony Joshua. So there's no point, calling him out. There's no point. He's his own man. If he wants the fight, he takes the fight. I feel like he's a competitor. I feel like if they both leave the sport without fighting each other, we'll always kick ourselves. And it will be a big shame. But they're their own people, they're their own men, and they'll make their own decisions. We're in. We're in. AJ wants it bad. I feel like Fury's the only person that he has really talked about with venom, if you like, about wanting to do a job on him and wanting to knock him out. And he really wants to do that. So he also has plans to try and recapture the world heavyweight title, and these are grand plans, but we have to get it right. This is the last chapter, really. Whether it's 12 months or 24 months, that's the period of time we're looking at. So we've got to get it right. And if we manage to get the fight with Tyson Fury, we can't afford to lose that fight because that's a real legacy fight.
I don't know if I saw quotes this morning from Tyson about not having the hunger to come back. It's one. I don't know if it's one of those roll your eyes. I've heard it all before kind of ones, but
But
that's
listen,
the
if that's the case, he shouldn't fight again. Because if he doesn't have the hunger to fight again, he'll get hurt against Anthony Joshua. Because I tell you something now, AJ's got the hunger to fight again. He's hungry like a lion, and he wants to get. He's ready to get back in the ring. But you should never fight again if you don't have the hunger for it, because it becomes a dangerous sport, especially against someone like Anthony Joshua. But I don't believe that. I believe Fury is a competitor, and that fight is on a plate for him now. So there's no excuses. The only excuse is I just don't want to do it anymore, and that's absolutely valid. That I can't tell you, oh, you've ducked him, you've this and that. He's done everything in the sport, but if the desire is still there, if he wants to, be part of these big nights and drive that legacy, it's on a plate.
I heard Frank Warren last week say that he thinks that Tyson's more keen on the Usyk fight, but financially, AJ Fury is 10 times more lucrative, though, isn't it?
Yeah, much bigger. I mean, no one's interested in Fury against Usyk, and I'll be honest with you, I'll say, no one's really interested in AJ against Usyk. I mean, both guys have lost twice to him. In particularly AJ's last one was competitive. Both Fury fights were competitive, but I understand why Fury wants to fight him. AJ wants to fight Usyk because they beat him, and every fighter will want to try and avenge that defeat. But it's not a fight that has the same desire or draw as AJ against Tyson Fury. By the way, I think the winner of that fight can go and fight Alexander Usyk. Now that's a big fight because after that, there's not really many places to go, and that would be a shot at the world heavyweight title. So we like Fury would love to fight Usyk, but we also understand we've been beaten twice, and we have to get ourselves back in a position where that would become a fight that people really wanted to see. And certainly the winner of AJ against Fury, I think, would be very well placed to fight Alexander Usyk again.
So is it, there was suggestions before that 2026 would be AJ's last year. Would you say that's no longer the case?
It could well be. I mean, it depends on the results, really. I mean, right now, we kind of have talked about, a 2-year run, and we're in October. So, but you get beat, Bridgie, and then it's all over anyway. I mean, one more defeat for AJ would almost certainly signal the end. And that's why we've got to make sure we're absolutely on the money here for the big fight. February, you can get beat in that fight in February. It's not going to be a plum. It's going to be a real fight. So you've got to be on it and you've got to be ready. But because we talk about Tyson Fury and we talk about Usyk and these kind of people, we've got to be one, we've got to get there first. And two, when we get there, we've got to be ready to try and beat them. So yeah, I think 2 years is a nice marker. But again, could all be over in February. If you lose in what is supposed to be a fight, a stepping stone fight to Fury, you can't lose that fight and then say, oh, hang on a minute. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another 2 fights. It's the story's been told. So this is the final chapter of that story, as I said.
So as a roundup, hopefully for AJ, he's back in February, venue TBC, opponents TBC, and the ultimate goal really is Tyson Fury and potentially another world title shot.
Yeah, I mean, the dream is to become a 3-division world heavyweight champion. But the desire is also to knock out Tyson Fury. That's how AJ feels. So if he can do that en route, then great. But if you look at AJ's resume, outside of Deontay Wilder that we signed for and we were supposed to announce in the ring, and then he lost to Joseph Parker, he has fought or signed for absolutely everyone of his generation. But if we don't get Fury, we'll always kick ourselves. So, it's like I said, from our side, we're in. But we need the big man to say, yeah, let's roll and let's give the British public the fight they've always wanted.
Finally on AJ, he's had some incredible nights. It's always been a pleasure to watch you with him because you've been with him from the very, very start. The Klitschko one for me is always the favourite. The Charles Martin one's like, blimey, AJ's going to win this easy. But is the most upsetting one night for you is maybe the Daniel Dubois night because of how close he was to winning that night?
Maybe. And also, it was a fight that, and again, you see every pundit put their 2.10 pence worth in. Oh, he should walk away from the sport. He should do this. He should do that. The reality is going into that Daniel Dubois fight, we were on form, right? He'd done a great job against Otto Warlin, smashed Ngannou. The camp was great. It wasn't, when a fighter's deteriorating, you see it in training camp. The spars become harder. You're getting buzzed in sparring. You're just not. The niggles are creeping in. That was not the case for that fight. There was no excuses going into that fight, other than he didn't execute the game plan on the night at all. He got hit early, never recovered, was very brave, almost found a way back into the fight, but walked onto one. That's okay. So these camps are going to tell us exactly where he's at from a physical point of view. But that was hard to watch because you're seeing a guy who, you really care for get hurt and continuously get up, right? When his legs aren't even beneath him and do it again and again and again. Not look at the referee when the referee's going 8, 9, 10, and you're still on your knees, getting up time and time again and still trying to win the fight. So that was hard to take. The Ruiz fight, they were the two nights, but every defeat, even the Usyk defeats, I mean, they were, the Tottenham defeat to Usyk was tough because he was well beaten. And the rematch was really tough because AJ gave that everything. And he really, and you could see the frustration after the fight. So look, it's never nice to see him lose. You're always going to get criticism. But always find the criticism towards AJ particularly unjust. One, because he's got one of the cleanest, purest hearts you'll ever meet. He's got time for everybody. And two, he gives 110% every single day to try and be the best he can be. So, but you're in sport, and when you get beat or when you get knocked out, you're going to get ridiculed and you're going to get criticised, and that comes with the territory.
I'll rattle through the rest of this. I really want to get to a few more with you. Johnny Fisher and the Boschheimer going to Monaco. Because of Dave Allen, do you reckon there's a chance of a trilogy fight down the line?
Yeah, it's funny that. I mean, look, Dave Allen's become this cult hero. I mean, we had 9,000 in the Sheffield Arena, one of the best atmospheres we've seen in British boxing, but he got beat. But it's like the response ever since is, you've got to get Dave back headlining Sheffield again. I'm like, okay. So he's going to have a run out in January, get a good win under his feet. And then it's like, who do we go back and headline with at Sheffield Arena? Johnny Fisher fights in Monaco. Johnny Fisher wants to fight Dave Allen again. I mean, he wants another roll of that dice. He won the first one. He is effectively 1-1. Who knows? I mean, it's a fight that, again, would do big numbers. It's a fight that if Johnny looks good in December, all of a sudden, he's with Tony Sims. He's got momentum. Maybe he looks to win that trilogy. But Dave's, like I said, he's just become... It's remarkable. I mean, he's such a good, honest, hard-working bloke. The public have just embraced him. And as long as we get the right opponent, we're going to be back in Sheffield Arena in March or April, headlining with him again.
He's a funny boy. You're going to like this one. Moses Atama, obviously the people like him and rate him, but you got Leo Atang.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a future British blockbuster.
Hopefully that's a British blockbuster for the world heavyweight title. I mean, Moses is well ahead of Leo at the moment, but Leo's 19 and he's already picked up a couple of stoppage victories, looks very good, super fast, got a lot of growing to do, as Moses did as well. When Moses was 18, 19, he was an exceptional talent, but still needed to mature a little bit. He's done that, or he's on his way to doing that, and he's a world-class talent. There's no doubt about it. But we are 2 years minimum, probably 3 years behind him. But I do think that, unless Moses gets chinned or whatever, can happen, I think Moses is going to be around for a long time at the top of the sport. And we expect Leo Atang to be there as well. So, Frank's got his heavyweight protege, future superstar in Moses. We've got ours in Leo Atang. We just need that experience that Moses had over the last couple of years.
I'm going to see Conor Benn later today. It's not long now, is it? How much are you looking forward to it? What's your thoughts on it so far?
I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Conor Benn. He's gone, I mean, he's always out there and he's always taking care of his media and, his social media is great, but he's been very quiet in this training camp. Like, I feel like in that first fight, he got a little bit carried away with the noise and the stardom of the event. And by the way, he sold it brilliantly well. It was massive for his profile. He trained so hard for that first fight. He never, he left no stone unturned for that camp. This camp, I just see a smarter team. I think they're taking themselves away from all the noise. And I really like what I'm seeing from Conor Benn. I think the game plan will be different. You're still going to see that aggressiveness, but you're going to see a smarter version, a more experienced version. But I do also think that Eubank is going to be training twice as hard for this fight because I think Eubank knows the pain that he suffered in that first fight. And he knows that the threat of Conor Benn is real. I think going into that first fight, Eubank thought, I'm the much bigger guy. You know, I'll be too big, too punch too hard for this guy. And what he faced was just a whirlwind from Conor Benn. But it was an emotional Conor Benn that sometimes made mistakes, and particularly in the back end of the fight. And I actually feel like we're the favourite going into this fight from what I'm seeing. And there's a lot of pundits as well that go, do you know what? I actually picked Conor Benn here because we need to see what that first fight took out of Eubank because that was physically a war. And he's going to be required to go back into the trenches for this fight, Eubank. Conor's fine, fresh as a daisy, young man. So, you know, I noticed that the difference, you know, Eubank's got Bomac in a corner. You know, he's taking it very seriously. And he needs to because I think Conor Benn's still improving. You know, Eubank's Eubank. He's not really going to change. Maybe the game plan could be a little bit better, but, you know, technically, he's the same fighter. Conor can make improvements and adjustments because he's a young man really starting out, just getting to that level.
Fine now, but a lot of people ask me this very finally now, but I've got to ask you. You know Eddie well. You know Eddie. You've known him for years. Like really enjoying the Netflix. He's so down to earth, isn't he? Like pickled onion crisps at 2 a.m. outside Shell or BP. I went, yeah. I mean, how much have you enjoyed it? Because you are you, and I've told people that is him. You're still getting people, Dana White having a pop at, you know, you still have people right at the very top having a pop at you. I mean, how are you? Have you enjoyed the
Yeah,
Netflix? How are
it's
you?
been good because it's a different viewership, right? So in the boxing world, all you do is you know the boxing world and fight. It can be quite a toxic world sometimes. Like you get a lot of hate, you get a lot of criticism, but it comes with the territory. I love the sport, I love the fans, but it's been nice to actually have some normal comments and people going, I really like that. You know, I like the synergy between you and your dad. It's a great story, it's a great company. And you've been around us a long time. Like the reality is we have, you know, my dad, you know, he built this thing. We've all done well, but we're pretty normal really. And you know, the stuff about the pickled onion monster munch and things like that, like that's just, you know, that's just us. Like if I need to stop out over on the A406 and get a packet of pickled onion monster munch, I'm doing it. And it's not, you know, I don't have, you know, this big tour bus, and you know, I've got someone who works for me who will get off the bus and get my crisps for me. Do you know what I mean? I'll just go in and get them myself. It's no problem. But I think that's what people like about us and our company and our story. And we're never going to change. Despite the success and despite the money, I want to be one of the fans. I want to be one of the people that can go down a pub and not just watch our events, but can just watch sport. I love sport. And I love creating opportunities and moments for athletes, but also for fight fans and fans in general. You know, ones that can go to Ali Pally at the darts and just leave there with a smile on their face and go, what great night. You know, go to the Dave Allen fight or an AJ fight or Eubank Benn and go, wow, what great night. Value for money key, particularly at the moment. And, you know, life's not easy. And if we can put a little smile on people's face and give them a good time, let's all be happy and treat people kindly. And we've had some really nice comments. It's quite heartwarming that, you know, the reaction from the Netflix show. So series 2, here we come.